Hello everybody, welcome to your daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site, and on Patreon for extra support. And any kind of updates and the such, I usually go about on Twitter X. So I've been a little bit more focused on Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, of course. I did manage to yesterday to stream around 5 hours or so with a break in the middle. But in the meantime, I managed to upload the VOD stuff for my around 7 hour stream. Again, I will in the stream things I will try to get around as much as I can. Again, I cannot commit myself to like X amount of hours per day, but I will try my best to stream every day until I finish the DLC. Uh, I've been encountering some interesting things lore wise, and the latest one is basically the larval tier. Yeah, I think I mentioned in the middle of the previous stream that I did. But yeah, the VOD should be up and running probably tomorrow from yesterday's live stream. I will try to live stream today also a little bit more. But today we will get a Jedi Survivor episode and tomorrow a Dead Space remake episode. I'm still able to do all of that. But then again, regarding any kind of Elden Ring theories, I will stay quiet for now. Again, I want to play all the DLC first at least, and then I will start diving in some content there. I don't know if people already start doing DLC theories and expanding on the lore there. I've been avoiding and watching any kind of Elden Ring videos as much as I can. But yeah, I think that's it regarding the channel. The only thing is the VODs will be I'm going to break them up around at least 2 hours blocks there. Depending again, I try to stream at least 2 hours blocks at a time before I make a break. It's a little bit more demanding on my part, but yeah, I've been able to do that. So on the VOD, it's more consumable, let's say, mainly because yeah, 2 blocks time. I think it's better suited for the VOD stuff instead of trying to watch 7 hour video. Yeah, it's a little bit extra work there on editing out the videos and uploading free videos than just uploading one. But I think it's more well suited for what it is there. But yeah, any kind of feedback regarding those is also very much appreciated. Let's go to the news. Not much happening. It's Monday, but yeah, supposedly AMD is continue to cutting prices on CPUs this time. This one specifically, the 7700, the non-X variant, available around 250, give or take. Which is a good price. I got the X variant. Mine is 7700X. Basically, the main difference here it's like 100 megahertz of base max boost clock, and a little bit of TDP, around 40% more TDP, and usually it's a little bit more expensive there. This 7700 non-X, the only thing that it has, the only thing that it doesn't have is, I think, the RDNA things there for the VGA kind of part of the CPU. I think it's the only thing that it doesn't have. But in terms of performance, it's basically the same. Again, you will not notice difference between the X and the non-X variants, even on gaming and using your PC on a daily basis. Not even in applications, it's like margin of error kind of thing, 2 to 3% in average in terms of difference between performance of the X and non-X variants. The only thing that might have some influence is the iGPU stuff there on the X variants there might be a little bit more useful, let's say. But yeah, other than that, even the newer ones that will come out, I don't think it's going to make like huge difference, with the exception if you're using a 7600. Let's say if you want to upgrade for the Zen 5 ones for a 89 or 99 or something in those lines, then you will see a difference. But if you're staying on the same kind of performance tier, I think you will not notice a lot of difference on the investment there. At least that's my sense regarding that. Also, the 7800 X3D, which is at this moment in time basically the best CPU for gaming. Again, you have to pair that with basically a 4090 or something like that. It's still like around at least $110 discount prices. Yeah, they are lowering because in about 1 month and a half, I think they are going to launch the 9000, so the Zen 5 ones. But yeah, take advantage of these price points on these things if you're thinking about upgrading, especially for AM5 socket. I think it's well worth it. But yeah, for normal stuff, I don't think you're going to notice huge differences. Especially for and I think the 7700X is a pretty good CPU for gaming, given that he already has 8 cores. He boosts pretty well, and I don't have any complaints really. I think my bottleneck probably is going to be the GPU at this moment in time, even though it's a 7900 XTX. I think the bottleneck is there because I play 4K gaming. My bottleneck is on the GPU. I think I will have probably 20% uplift if I use the 4090. That's my general sense. But again, for the games that I play, which is usually Elden Ring kind of games, Elden Ring is locked at 60 max FPS, and usually even the games that I use, for example, Jedi Survivor, Dead Space Remake, I get around 70-ish kind of frame rates there in a regular manner. So yeah, even for the kind of games that I play, I don't need like usually high frame rates and low latency there. I don't do FPS stuff there that much. But yeah, it's more about adventure games, Souls likes, and the such. Usually, it's what I play. So yeah, you will 4K 60 frames. I think it's a good frame rate for playing games. I think people shouldn't buy that much on the high frame rate stuff there. It's a little bit of a hype there, so they can upsell you from monitors to GPUs and CPUs. I think, at least for me, I feel very comfortable with 60 frames. But again, if you're going to 144 frames, you will notice a little bit more fluidity. But the main difference is between 30 to 60 and then 60 to 120 or something like that. But it's like double the frame rate. But yeah, trying to reach peak frame rates and having a stuttering image because you're getting bottleneck in terms of performance. Yeah. Stable FPS usually my aim when I play, but yeah, that's my preference there. But yeah, regarding CPUs, again, 7000 series, we got at least the 7700, which I think is more than an excellent CPU for gaming. And you got also, if you're thinking about something a little bit extra, you got the 7800 X3D around $340. And then you got this Ryzen, the 8700G. Again, this is the basically APUs. Again, I don't think it's well worth it that much. That extra thing for an APU. If you're playing games, you will buy a GPU instead. I think it's a better option there. But yeah, regarding gaming, we got Avowed. Again, this comes from an interview, but I already had the sense that Avowed is not going to be like a huge game in terms of hours played to complete the game. So it's not going to be a big RPG per se. It seems to be more in line with the latest one that they did, the Outer Worlds. Even though the tone is completely different, I think the tone they're trying to get around is more grounded one, similar to how we call the game, Deadfire. Pillars of Eternity to Deadfire. I think they're going for a mode realistic tone like it is here in this game, but with kind of in terms of size of scope, a little bit like the Outer Worlds. again, again, people are complaining a little bit here that it might be too short. Again, this studio, it does Obsidian. It's not a huge studio, and usually they tend to focus more on narrative-driven stories. Can be like an RPG or something like that, but they are more narrative focus, and they usually tend to bring a lot of focus there and trying to get a little bit more quality than quantity. At least that's my perception. I think the people expect bigger games from them because I think of Fallout New Vegas. The Fallout New Vegas is a big game, similar in size with Fallout 3, if not mistaken, and the quality of content in terms of narrative and characters and all that jazz is pretty good. It's one of the better Fallout games in terms of narrative and the quest lines and everything. But I think that they did manage that because of the scope of what Fallout is. And again, they already had at the time the creation engine. I think that there were a lot of reuse assets and everything, so I think they got a little bit more time to expand on the narrative aspect of the game there. But yeah, don't expect like 100-hour plus RPG. I think something more in line with Outer Worlds in terms of quantity of game, let's say. And they also noted that they decided to forgo full romance path. So it's something is going to be you can suppose you can interact with NPCs and such, but there is not going to involve any kind of romancing. And the justification, I think, is well worth it. They say that they thought very hard about it and talk about it as a narrative team. And then the director said, I think if you're going to invest in romance, everyone who's writing them needs to be absolutely fully bought in. And the other thing you need to do is make sure that if you're going to provide that path, that you're balancing that with an equally meaningful and well-developed non-romantic path, because you never want players to feel that, well, the only way I really get to know this character or really get to form a meaningful bond with them is if I commit to romancing them, which maybe is something that players don't want to do. For me, depends on the context and what kind of game it is, but I don't think it's. I think it's a crutch in terms of narrative. If you're dependent on creating bonds with your NPCs, you have to automatically basically romancing them. It removes a little bit the aspect of bonds with people. I think to a certain degree it's trying to it's basically the crutch of you cannot have friends, you have to have partners, let's say. Because I think a bond of friendship can be or like a companion in a sense, like in a war, let's say, have different aspects to those bonds. They are different bonds, let's say, because they are more focused in certain things. For example, a war companion bond is completely different from what we can perceive a normal friendship, which is also different from a romancing bond, or even like a husband-wife kind of relationship there. The same thing that a bond that a father has with his with their children is completely different from the bond that that father has with their own father. I think closing yourself in romancing only kind of bonds, it's not good, because then you get yourself limited to that specific kind of bond there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see in terms if even the game is not that long, if it is at least with high quality, hopefully so. But yeah, at least this is what I got. Again, no release date so far, but supposedly it's going to be on Game Pass on day one. Again, some people might think that it's going to be November 12th, but yeah, it doesn't have an official release. I think it was a provisional one this November 12th. And last, in terms of news, we got the Elden Ring DLC. It's not even drama. I think people, again, didn't listen to what Miyazaki is being and all the From Software team has been telling people in interviews and the upcoming. previews that a lot of people had. I think people got the wrong idea what the purpose of Shadow of the Erdtree is and what kind of tools that you can use to overcome some difficult stuff there. Myself, I'm having a blast. I was already aware that that this was going to be a ramp up difficulty like hell, because I've been listening and trying to cover the DLC as much as I can without getting spoiled. And the interviews that Miyazaki told is that the DLC was made with the intention of having the same feeling and expectation like the first time that you get out of that cave on the beginning of the game. That is you're going to be because it's an open world and the way they go about it, they will what they did basically with um, the 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 the, the fire pit guy that on the DLC that you see as soon as you get out of the first cave from the DLC also. That guy is not going to be for your first enemy to try out. It's impossible to do. And again, they trying to direct the player in certain ways by basically making enemies very difficult. I already have to avoid that burning basket of hell fire. I have to postpone trying to engage with them. I also found another enemy a little bit after that I need to go after, and I'm at this moment in time a little bit stuck on the dungeon there. But again, I think it's doable, and again, with the tools that the game provides, especially the schedule tree blessing stuff there, which basically raises your attack power and raises your damage negation there. It's more than an excellent tool for people to use. And also, again, you can continue to upgrade your character, even though there are some soft caps inherent to the leveling up on Elden Ring. And again, check your materials in terms of talismans. Again, source seals are not that good for the DLC because they increase the damage output, but they also increase the damage taken. There are a lot of stuff. There are new weapons. You will struggle at the beginning. The enemies are more aggressive. At least that's my perception. Like bosses and elites, they have longer combos. Let's say. I think it's one of the things the attack patterns are longer, and I think it's a huge difference of how the DLC needs to be tackled in taking in comparison with the main game. And I think some builds in the early beginnings of the DLC are kind of inviable to a certain extent because the enemies and the stats that incurred of the fact that you have certain builds that might not protect you on damage negation, for example. There are some enemies that they like even normal enemies of kind of elites, they strike you twice and you're dead basically at the beginning if you don't be if not paying attention and not be careful. But yeah, I'm evolving. I'm leveling up here and there. I level up like a couple of levels. I think I'm 176. I started 174 the DLC. It's a little bit over level, let's say, but still I'm having some difficulties here and there. But again, I'll go again. I approach it in a different way. I think people were used to just smashing around in the base game there because the character itself reach a certain peak on the base game, and then they were basically humbled on the DLC. Those builds and even the fact that how you're trying to approach the DLC. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, even though when I start dying all over the place, I can be a little bit frustrating. But that's part of the challenge. At least that's my view on it. But yeah, overall, I think it's so far it's been a good experience. Again, I only unlocked the first piece of the map, and I didn't even that I didn't explore everything that piece map has to offer there in terms of exploration. And I'm assuming that we'll have around 4 piece maps, give or take. And then there's also the verticality of the world. Again, I think so far, again, there are certain things that I need to go after, some enemies. But other than that, I don't see any issue with the fundamentals of the in terms of mechanics and how the DLC works. I was expecting that. I think people were expecting just ramming through the DLC like nobody's business, and I don't know. If that was your expectation, I really don't know why you would bother to want the DLC to continue the same way that you were in the base game. That's interesting, that thought process there. Again, and it's been I've been overwhelmed a lot by the vistas. What the the scope of the DLC in terms of what you can explore, what you can do, where you can go. Yeah, it's got the same wonder that the base game when you start off in a blind playthrough. That's they managed to capture that again, which is something that I have to tip of the hat for From Software and Miyazaki and their team were able to do there. Again, I understand a lot of some people seem to have some kind of performance issues. um, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Just for the moment, I saw some stuff that the water stuff is causing some troubles, like lakes and the such. Just tone down a little bit the water surface stuff there, and I think you can mitigate a little bit that issue. But again, we have to wait for a patch in terms of performance there. I understand. I think there is kind of a rubber band on the performance, some stuttering and some freeze, then got that rubber band effect there, which is not good for this kind of game. Having stuttering and the such, because it's very technical in terms of how you engage in combat, and the fact that the enemies are a little bit more aggressive and to a certain extent more faster. But other than that, in terms of performance, I didn't have any kind of issues. Some stuttering here and there, mainly when I pan around the camera in certain areas, and it's very like it happened like a couple of times or a handful of times. The only like major freeze that I had was the fact that my controller was shut off, and that basically freezes the game there. Other than that, I didn't have any major complaints so far. It's got the same kind of performance that I've been having with the base game, so no issues there. And when I stream again, my system is overload mode, which is basically playing the game for K60, basically almost everything maxed out. Then I have a recording program, recording footage on the background, and I'm streaming the thing there. It's a little bit overload on the system, and from time to time you might notice some micro stuttering here and there, and sometimes some odd effects here and there, but nothing that I didn't have already on the base game, and I assume that is basically because I'm reaching the full potentiality of my system itself. But yeah, other than that, I think the again, and I think that these mixed reviews on the Steam page is mainly because people are too busy playing the DLC still. I think it will take around at least 1 week or so the reviews will stabilize. But other than that, I think people that are enjoying it's got over 1 million players online as a peak thing. I think it's rounding about at least between 500,000 to 750,000 people online playing the game, and I think those people are enjoying the game, and then they are going to finish up to the DLC, and then afterwards they probably will make their review known. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a little bit of everything here. So yeah, to some degree is you need to get good in the best sense of the word there. Just to try to lower, not lower the expectation, put your expectation in check for the DLC, and try to engage with the mechanics, the new mechanics of the DLC, and I think you will be fine. Because even the ashes, the summon ashes that you get, they can get upgraded also. And yeah, the tools that they are provided there so far for me are more well than enough. I don't think that those tools will overpower you throughout the thing. Even using summons, I think it's more than justified. It's the tool that the games offer, and they balance the game taking into account that. So yeah, I don't know what the issue is with people thinking that we got it's too hard. I think you're not using the tools that Miyazaki gave you, using them properly, or at least not understanding how they can be used properly. Again, there are a lot of guides. Facts Life is already doing a lot of build guides, for example, for specifically for the DLC. If you have any kind of issues with that, but yeah, other than that, I'm having a blast playing the DLC so far, and hopefully later I will stream a little bit more. But yeah, basically this is it what I got in terms of news. Some gaming deals. We got Ni no Kuni games. This is the remastered version of The Wrath of the White Witch, 85% off. Then you got Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, 85% off also. We got Blasphemous, 75% off. If you're not sure if you're going to like this kind of game, you always have a demo, which is always awesome to have a demo for the games there. You got Death Stranding, Director's Cut. Again, this has got a stamp of approval for me, even though I didn't play the full game. But yeah, pretty good. If you like Kojima, kind of the way he goes about games, you will like this game for sure. Then we got Lords of Fallen, 50% off in all versions of the game, and all editions, sorry. We got also Sandland, 44% off, yeah, on both versions. And then on GOG, we got Plague Tale Innocence, 80% off. Yeah, and then Plague Tale Requiem, 60% off. Sorry, I froze a little bit there. Then we got Days Gone, 75% off, so $12 or so. Again, this game doesn't need any kind of PSN shenanigans, and the fact that it's here, it's always a good sign on GOG. No DRMs, no any kind of that shenanigans there. But yeah, very underrated game from what I understand. I will probably one of these days going to play this game, and I will probably buy out through GOG. But yeah. And then lastly, we got the Wasteland 2 and Wasteland 3. Wasteland 2 is got the Director's Cut. This is Digital Deluxe Edition. This is the same version that I have, and it's 75% off. And then you got Wasteland 3 Colorado Edition, is the same version that I have on Steam, and here is 75% off. I will eventually go about redoing my Wasteland 2 and probably follow up with Wasteland 3. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff that I still need to play until I reach Wasteland IP. But yeah, other than that, this is what I got for you. I was just going to wrap up with a plug on my Patreon as usual. For extra support, this extra support at this moment in time is for me to focus on a better storage solution for my for me to be having backups of stuff that I do for my clients, and of course extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.